Welcome everyone, this is Polly Needles and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Player. This week we have with us Terry Adwin.
Hi!
Guarendis.
Hello everyone.
Galabathian.
Yar, hello.
And Arendis.
Hey everybody. Sorry. Hello everyone.
Hello.
It's hard to follow Calabathian. Hers are always so great and they always make me laugh.
Let us begin with the update 27.3.1 release notes.
Tiny patch.
Where tiny patch, right? Because in housing, property guards will no longer attack cosmetic pet housing decorations.
Well, that's a relief. Oops.
They were really attacking them?
I mean, I don't know, because I don't have either of those things, but...
Wasn't that the patch a while back that they had disabled the property guards? Is that why?
Maybe?
It's possible. It would make sense.
Sir, you are confused. That's a cat.
Leave my hedgehog alone.
You just see like the little property guard chasing the, I think, what was it, the anniversary pig with the fireworks, and it's just running across the landscape. Fireworks going off.
No, come on, I want to see the property guard take on the giant shrew.
Oh, there you go.
So much for the merciful boot.
Yes. I hope that some people have some great pics of this happening.
Yeah.
I know, right? They need to start adding in like either a picture or like a video clip of the stuff that they fixed for the rest of us who haven't seen it.
Yes.
That would be awesome.
For the Farmers Fair, the Badges of Taste and Badges of Dishonor barter for boxes of festival tokens has been restored to the previous barter cost of 2 badges to receive 1 box.
Yay.
Yay!
The Festival Quest fireworks for the festival from Robert Greenberg at the Breland Festival Grounds now properly counts as a Farmers Fair quest.
Also yay.
And the primary Farmers Fair Festival Rewards vendor has been given her proper name and title, Caltha Tunnelly, Festival Announcer and Rewards Vendor.
Yay.
Okay. I would presume having the proper title is going to be helpful so that people could actually find the right vendor.
Yeah, it's a little confusing because there's so many vendors for so many different things, and it's like, okay, where is this person for this thing?
Yep.
Yes, I think some people were asking, where is this person? Oh, I found the rewards under this person, but the name is so wrong.
Yeah.
So they decided to take care of that. And that's it for that tiny little patch.
Tiny patch.
Yes.
Tiny patches.
Don Ho just rolled over in his grave.
Let's head into the LOTRO Beacon, issue number 173. In our community spotlight, actually, it looks like it's very different the Rohirrim that are in this. I would presume I'm trying to figure out where it's from.
That's from the instance where Theoden is getting ready to ride to Helm's Deep.
Ah, all
Yes.
right. That
Because he points, let's go to Helm's Deep!
yes.
As if I don't know which way it is.
I mean,
Theoden
no,
has to make
in
it
that
like,
direction, but he's got a
it's this
point.
way.
To emphasize,
It's this way.
yeah, to emphasize, we're going this way. Onward.
We're going onward.
Everybody know where Helm's Deep is? No? Okay, we're going to Helm's Deep.
We're
I'm
going
pointing
that way.
towards it right now.
We're going that way.
Well, technically,
/ charge.
Yes. Technically, he's telling them that he's trying to say we're going to the Fords of Eisen. It wasn't until
Oh, that's true. They were headed to the Fords of Eisen. They
Right.
detoured to Helm's Deep because the Fords
Yeah.
were fallen. Yeah.
right.
I may have done this instance like a dozen or so times.
You know, it strikes me though, since we have actually mentioned in the past that there is a Greyhound bus that goes through Middle Earth because, you know, something drives them, and we realized it was a Greyhound bus. If nobody in the Rohirrim knows how to get to where they're going, they can take the Greyhound. They may have to sit with some orcs, but, you know, everybody's going to the same place at that point, so it's, you know... You want some vienes? I mean, here's some sausages. You know, open the can. You know, just yeah. Anyway,
I think they prefer horses to dogs, though. So
They're not hobbit-sized.
let's head into
Okay.
the community
wait.
spotlight now.
They're not hobbit-sized. Okay, so we have hobbits, and then we have goblins, and then we have weird goblins, which are actually the look a little bit like hobbits, and people mistake them for hobbits, but they're
The
really
Buggins.
goblins. Yeah, the Buggins. So we've got like the half orcs, the half trolls, the half whatevers, and we try not to think about why and how they became that way. So is the next logical step going to be like we're taking orcs and Uruk-hai and making them like hobbit-sized or dwarf-sized? We're going to have like pocket orcs. And goblins already ride wargs, but you're going to have pocket orcs that are actually riding like chihuahuas or something. Regular dogs, or even that one big dog that we now have as a cosmetic pet, they're just going to ride.
Well, I suppose the Dark Tower has fallen, so evil is lesser, but I don't think so.
I thought. I mean, we've got poodle wargs.
Yeah, I was slaying poodle wargs the other day.
Okay, sorry. You can continue now. I just was wondering. I mean, it was a question.
Let's head into this community spotlight, where this is your final weekend to take advantage of our free questing and rating coupon. Use the coupon code LOTROFreeQuest, one per account, through August 31st. And you could click on the link for more information on that. This episode should be coming out on the 31st. You'll be getting it just in time if you have forgotten so far. This is your last chance. And according to Cordovan, they are planning a small patch on Tuesday, September 1st. And the primary reason for this is to remove all that stuff so that it doesn't accidentally stay on longer than that, all right? So keep that in mind, that this is your final chance to do so. Louis 7 takes a look back at the past decade with a new video. And you can join the Lights of Valar on Crick Hollow to celebrate the server's 10th anniversary on September 12th. And they'll have games, prizes, and more. And they have a flyer just a couple of paragraphs below that where the Lights of the Valar Crick Hollow's 10th anniversary celebration. And if you're looking for a Farmer's Fair guide, you could click on the link to read Fibro Jedi's right up on that. I think we've spoken about that already on a couple of occasions.
Mm-hmm.
Then to the Kin Hall. Cult of the Riddle of Steel is an Evernight-based kinship mainly focused in crafting.
Pass.
Yes, but you craft it past. Also, the Riddle of Steel. We're suddenly going from LOTRO to Conan.
Maybe it's actually more Mandalorian based. I mean, you know, everything's about upgrading your armor and everything.
That is true.
Let's then
by
head into
Craw.
let's into our weekly comment. If you were a farmer in Middle Earth, what would you grow?
I'm still astonished at how fast you can grow little tiny apple trees. But when my Hobbit yeoman is growing the pipeweed, there's the basic pipeweed, and then you step up a level and it gets like twice the height of you or something. That was astonishing. Maybe some of that.
Yeah, it is amazing how fast those.
Okay, wait. How is it that as crafters, we can farm and it grows really, really quick so we can harvest it? And yet there's one actual quest where you talk to like a master farmer for mushrooms. And it's like, plant these and then come back in like 4 months and they'll be harvested. They're mushrooms.
Details.
It's like they literally grow overnight.
So the fastest growing item that you can think of is the one that takes the longest in the game.
And any other time, it's like, oh, let's just do mushrooms, in like 5 minutes. But, yeah, no sense to me. But no, I wouldn't grow mushrooms because then Farmer Maggot would probably be mad. And no one can beat Farmer Maggot's mushrooms. I mean, though I don't know that I could eat mushrooms grown by a man with the last name Maggot. I just can't. But yeah, what would I grow if I were a farmer in Middle Earth? Well, I would have to sow the seeds of chaos and reap discord.
And we've just you sow the seeds of chaos and you get a communication piece of software.
Yeah,
What
actually,
a
it makes as much sense as anything else.
I don't know. Have you been on social media lately?
You've got a point there. I have a feeling it was called Discord with good reason. Yeah, things do get a little chaotic. So yeah, thinking of a good thing in which to grow. And the only thing I can think of is whatever helps me to craft the item that I need. Let's head to the fan site news, where last week we described a barrel brie experiment. And LOTRO Stream is your first stop for LOTRO on Twitch. This week you can check out the debut show of Michael DK2, Uger questing in Galaden, and Anket has the ultimate heist. Also on Twitch, Bloodborne raids, Ending revisits Helm's Deep, and Grandad plays on Laurelin. And over on YouTube, the Scarlet Seeker follows Flowers, Runtles Games, and Manapot's Mentors.
Awesome name there. Manapot.
Let's into our screenshot of the week, where Frostpaw's Unlegible doesn't let a little weather stop him from fishing in this week's screenshot of the week. Thanks, Frostpaws, for sending this in. You can submit your screenshots to contact@stayingstonegames.com.
That lightning has me worried.
I know, it seems really, really dangerous. I mean, he's the tallest. He's basically making himself into a lightning rod by being the tallest thing out there. And in the water.
The lore master.
And in the water.
With metal armor.
Yeah. Like his helmet is that metal heavy armor bear head that Terry loves.
Frostpaws were worried about you.
Yeah. I want to say this
Maybe-
is somewhere in Rohan, because they get such spectacular weather in Rohan.
Maybe he knows that if the thunder falls to lightning by less than half a second, he should scram and find a safe place.
Less than half a second, that means it's hitting him. He'll scram all right.
Okay, you got a point there.
But hey, guys, you never know. It could just be a really angry lore master in the background. He might be totally fine.
Yes. An angry lore master, or a yellow line runekeeper, perhaps.
There you go.
Actually, the rune keepers and lore masters, I don't know if they're really angry or if they're just making sure to the goblins and other creatures off of him so he can fish and keep.
That's a possibility.
At least until it hits the water and zaps him, and then it's like, oh, my bad.
See?
Watch where you
Yes.
aim that lightning strike.
It's all fun and games until somebody loses an eye. Or what,
Drops
gets
a
zapped by
stone.
lightning. I mean, it's whatever.
Let's head into our store sales. And Terry, what's on sale this week?
Nothing good. Bunch of crafting garbage. The weekly coupon gets you a free 10% run speed boost for ×5 for 90 minutes with the coupon code 10run5. Now through September 3rd. So for those of you that don't have pocket hunters to run with, this is the answer to that. Also aren't wardens or bears. Crafting, you get 20% off crafting guild access, ingredient packs, crafting accelerators, rapid craft, crafting tiers, and recipe books now through September 3rd. Blah. This is also, we talked about the LOTRO request, but this is also your final weekend to log in as a VIP and receive the Armor of the Hornburg Defender set.
Oh yes, there is that little piece also. Then let's into the site news, where we have A Berg's Tale, Chapter 6, where it looks like you have a little dance with Sammy.
Yeah, there's a little dancing. As long as the music's good, is what. Yeah, it was one of the phrases put when Bombadil told Morkandir in this chapter, that be careful, or you'll be laying there till the whites make your bones dance. And Morkandir was like, okay, as long as the music's good, because this, I'm telling you right now, guys, it's a chapter that is full of sass. This burglar has had enough of this place and all of the dead things in it walking around. Also, there is an Easter egg that I hid in there. Did anybody catch it?
I don't want to spoil it for people.
You could just say yes or no.
Maybe?
There is an Easter egg. You have to be very, very alert to catch it. It looks like it might be. Yeah, it looks like it might be some kind of mistake, but it's not a mistake. Also, the whole thing with thee, thou, thy, thine. Some of the stuff that LOTRO actually put in the game for that, it apparently is not quite correct, so we had to tweak it for my chapter.
Yes, I noticed that you seem to be conjugating that a lot better than the game did.
Yeah, I actually sent it out to everyone and was like, okay, guys, I got to doing the thy, thine, thou, and the ESTs for that kind of stuff, right and proper, and they gave me some good feedback for that.
I think I did notice one that seemed to be out of place.
It might be because I'm not a scholar of, ancient, Old English, Middle English, because, I mean, early modern, seekest thou, it's like, what are you you talking about? No. But yeah, so there is a lot of sass and snark. I kind of glossed a little bit of the fighting scenes because there would have been so many, because it's the Great Barrow and you have to get to Sambrog and ugh. But yeah. We also see at one point that I actually looked it up to make sure that, burglars as a class could use an actual sword, and they can, one-handed, by the way. And that makes sense for his background.
Yeah, actually,
I didn't want to. Go ahead.
You're the first person who's writing something who actually used the term arming sword from all the times I've seen it. And, I was really surprised too, because every other time I see references, they always mistakenly call a one-handed sword a long sword instead of an arming sword.
and I had a little bit of experience with swords and stuff because of some other things that I've written. And it's like, okay, there's a hand and a half, there's the broadsword, there's a long sword, and I wanted to make sure that what we actually had, I was like, okay, wait, is it a long sword? Because once I saw that it was, pretty much a one-handed sword, I'm like, okay, what swords are just one-handed instead of two? Because, usually it's, you see all the pictures of people with like two-handed. Hand and a half is, kind of in between. So I actually looked it up so I could get it clear in my head to figure out what kind of sword we were dealing with. And that's when I came across this, the discussion of, well, a lot of this, like long sword and broadsword and stuff like that, these are actually more for like the big claymores, the Scottish claymore that are, 6 foot long and they're huge.
Yes.
Much longer, and they're usually you have to wield them two-handed and stuff, and I'm like, well, that's certainly not what I was looking for. And it kept on mentioning an arming sword was the one that knights used, usually one-handed. And so I was like, okay, arming sword is what I'm actually looking for. So I made sure to put that in there instead of, broadsword, longsword, because I knew it wasn't necessarily a short sword.
No. An arming sword would be about the right word then, yeah.
So I learned something new. I was like, oh, an arming sword. Okay. That's what it is, because I've got a sword in my living room, but it's a two-handed. It's an actual long sword type. It looks a lot, it's kind of plain, but it looks a lot like, something Aragorn might actually wield. It's not really arming. A little bit too long for that. Anyway, beside the point. But yeah, for chapter 6, we kind of try to get him in and have him overhearing a bunch of information. Because as we saw from the last chapter, he had to make a decision because he was the only one that pretty much knew that this was going to take place. And not only that, it's like, okay, if I'm the only one who knows this is taking place, this big meeting, who's going to go find out what these people are talking about? Because by the time I get, back to Strider and let him know and he sends somebody out, he's just going to ask me anyway. But, Tom's not going to do it. It's kind of, he's kind of outside of the world. So between that and Goldberry saying, don't, please help, in her own special way. We have this guy basically sitting here going, nobody knows this but me. And I could walk away at this point and nobody would know except me. But as we saw in the last chapter, he decides he's going to go do this. And that's what he does. He's going to go, spy. He's going to be, dun, 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 Mission Impossible. So, and he does, and he overhears stuff, and towards the end realizes from what the Witch King says, as we, as you've played the game, that the Witch King and these old dead dudes, I guess you'd say, powerful old dead dudes, they've known he was there, which is like kind of startling to him because one, he has pride. He's like, I'm a sneaky little burglar, and yet they apparently knew I was here. What's up with that? But also, it's startling to him because he realizes, how much did I not hear? And he's going to come to ask himself some more questions later on, like, okay, whatever I heard, if they knew I was there, was I hearing the right thing? It hasn't occurred to him because he's in pain and he's sore and he's bleeding and he's kind of ticked off because, Sambrog was kicking his butt. Sambrog's kicking our butts when we're on level. And, all this other stuff. So, yeah. That's kind of chapter 6, is the play-by-play of Othrangroth and meeting Sambrog and, the Witch King and, meeting, getting his kill stolen by Tom Bombadil. By the way, I do want to mention, because it was mentioned to me, the back and forth that I use between Tom Bombadil and Orald, those names. Orald, as I mentioned at one point, is what men used to know Tom as before he became Tom Bombadil. So he's heard more about Orald than he has Tom Bombadil, quote, because that's kind of been not where he grew up. He grew up, way to, after, across the Misty Mountains and stuff like that. And everybody has like 9 different names in Middle Earth if you have any kind of power. So, it's like a Strider, Aragorn.
You've been around for 10 years. You have like 10 different names.
Yeah.
Gandalf and Mithrandir.
So,
whatever we're calling him.
Gandalf, Mithrandir, yeah. And that's not, it's Gandalf and Mithrandir, and it's like, okay, are these his names, or are these what we know him as? Because he could also be, his Maiar name is something completely different, so, yeah. But
it is, because they do mention his Maiar name on a couple of occasions.
Yeah. So he's got at least 3. Strider has, 4, 5. And, Tom has several as well, depending on what race you're talking to and where all you have lived, because he's wandered all over the place before down. So, yeah. Just wanted to make mention of, if I go back and forth with that Orald and Tom Bombadil, it's because those are the 2 names that he knows this guy as, just like Aragorn Strider. So, yeah. And that's kind of chapter 6. Come for the snark. There's a lot of it. There's a lot of it. Just ask Arendis.
I messaged her when she sent me the preview and was just, the snark is great. Just go read it. The snark is great.
Let's then head into the pick of the week, where apparently the Dwarven Scholar has a Kickstarter for a Dwarven calendar.
Yes, and it's a great calendar, and everybody should go check it out. Slightly not
apparently
safe, but
there I did not know this, but apparently there is a drawing that is kind of based on Thorin, as played by Richard Armitage. That alone, it's take my money.
I didn't say that. I said it was based on Thorin.
Slight difference.
Your mileage may vary.
In which Celebathian rethinks her decision to back the Kickstarter. I'm not gonna lie, I'm rethinking it now.
It's really great.
I might anyway, because it's kind of cute in a strange way. It's pseudo pine leaf friendly.
It would be
pseudo pine leaf.
No, it's really not pine leaf friendly.
It's not, but as we said earlier, it's only pine leaf friendly in the way of the fact that Pine Leaf is a grown man, so and he can make his own decisions.
But for all of those people who have bare-chested dwarves, you know who you are. This calendar is totally for you.
Let's head to the new player question.
Another question. Are there any that are based on?
I don't know. You cut out for me. I don't know what you just said.
I said, are there any drawings that are based off of Gimli?
Maybe? I don't know. I can't tell who's supposed to be who.
Because we have mentioned this before, that there might be a throuple thing between me and Legolas and Gimli.
Moving on.
Let's head to the new player question. What's the question this week?
I suppose. What should I get from the Farmer's Fair / Summer Festival going on right now? Cosmetics, etc.
All the cosmetic.
Hobbit.
Well, no, not all the cosmetic thingies, because this is the one where some of the Summer Festival and Harvest Fest rewards look like the couch, somebody's like antique grandmother's couch that got thrown up on. I didn't realize this until I was going through the some of the robes, and I'm like, oh, this is that festival. The Wed Math celebration stuff, I think, is the stuff that's really, really, really beyond hideous. And the robe matches the blanket steed, and it was really disgusting.
Hobbit Dance 4.
Now, Hobbit Dance 4.
Dance 4.
Hobbit
Yes.
Dance 4 is a must.
Yes, I actually mentioned this and put this in for a new player question because someone coming into this who is brand new, there's a lot of stuff in this combined festival, like a lot. And not only is the sheer amount of choice kind of mind-boggling and people don't start because of that, there's also the whole thing of, okay, I'm going to be doing these 2 festivals from now until the day I die in order to get everything.
Only
So
until
what should I be
September 14th.
getting? That's until the day you die. If you festival as much as you need to get everything in between now and September 14th, you probably will be found kicked over
This is also where you probably will not be able to get the Heave emote because it takes like multiple festivals to complete that deed.
Mm-hmm.
But you can get a start on getting the Heave emote. That's for doing all of the races. For winning on all of the dwarves and all of the hobbits, like 4 times each or something ridiculously insane like that. It was a lot. It took Sarissa like 3 festivals to get it, and now she has a gambling problem. So, yeah.
I mean, I really think it depends on, kind of just personal preference. You kind of just have to take some time and look through the list. I mean, because everyone's preferences are different, and it depends on how much time you have, too. So if you only have time to get, this, that, or the other, you can kind of plan from the beginning and say, okay, what can I get for this many tokens? If you're asking for specific recommendations, I thought that the cosmetic rewards for this year, the shimmering themed outfits, the tunic and dress especially were gorgeous. I thought the peacock dress from previous ones were good. I mean, you really just have to look through it all.
This is where knowing how to preview cosmetics can really help you.
Yes.
And how do you preview them?
Control left click.
Okay.
And play around with the die choices too while you have it open.
Anything else?
I just was going to say definitely preview those die choices because some of them look really, really pretty, and then you buy them and you want to dye them, and then that's the first time you dye them and you realize when it dyes, it doesn't dye the way you need it to, want it to, and it looks terrible in other colors, and you're stuck with a color that maybe you don't really want or like because you were hoping that when you dyed it, it would look like that in a different color, but it doesn't.
Yeah, and only certain parts of things die, so that's also why previewing it in advance is important. When you get that pop-up screen for the preview, it does actually let you see, like, preview what it will look like dyed, so you can see which portions of it will dye to a specific color. There is no color that you can dye the Wedmath stuff to make it look better. I promise. No. It's really awful.
Anything else?
Oh,
I
if
did
you're into
manage to-
kites, they have some.
Oh, yeah,
sorry.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Pinch poke, you owe me a Coke.
I was
No,
just
I
gonna
was just
say
gonna
they have
say-
kite. Oh crap! Go ahead, Calabathine. Go.
1, 2, 3, 4. I declare a thumb war. I was just going to say that I did get the ascot for Celevorn from this celebration, and the Hobbit dance for my Hobbit. But we're working on it. It's really hard because we basically had to grind the entirety of Midsummer so much to get everything, and now all of a sudden we're getting hit with like a double festival now, and I kind of logged in the first day and went, all these yellow names everywhere, and like, nope, click, and I logged right back out. No, I wound up bartering for a bunch of tokens to get a couple things, but yeah, I'm gonna have to run it, but man, I'm just deep in my soul, I'm a little burned out. I know I'm gonna have to, but man.
Well, the nice thing about it being 2 festivals together is you can kind of pick and choose what you're going to do. You don't have to do all
Exactly.
of the fishing or all of the races or all of the things. You can, because there's so much that even to get 10 quests is super easy.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Arindis. I'll be quiet.
No, I'm sorry, I was cutting you off. The only thing I wanted to add to that was there are also kites. So if you're into kites or something like that, they have a bunch of options. And yeah, I agree. There is a lot, and that's why I'm personally really glad that they extended it out another 2 weeks, because that way people have enough time to earn everything they want, or they can wait until it dies down or anything like that. So, good call.
Then let's into our week in LOTRO. And Terry Adwin, what were you up to?
Well, speaking of festivals, Sarissa did some festival things because she actually had the most tokens going into the thing. Apparently, I haven't really done it the last couple of years because I was really surprised by some of the rewards that were available. Because I just, speaking of being really burnt out on, I've been burnt out on festivals since they decided to make the cosmetics account bound. Which, by the way, please stop making the cosmetics account bound. It makes it really, really hard for me to be super excited about getting cosmetics because it means I can't share them with my friends later. That used to be actually the best part because I'd be like, yeah, come into the game, I can share all this cool stuff with you, and then now you can't. And I hate it. Yeah, so because cosmetics were required, Galabrillis, my lore master, put together an outfit to go see the wizard at Orthanc. Which is eventually going to turn into a blog post because yes, it was based on, because her name is Galabrilith and it's shortened to Gale, based on Dorothy Gale from The Wizard of Oz is what her outfit was basically put together to go touring Isengard. Shenanigans happened at Isengard. Now she's ready to go back and kick Dunlending, but because this is also the second time I've been to. I mean, I've been to Isengard a lot with like a lot of different characters, but this is only the second character that I've been to Orthanc with that actually had their Galadriel's prophecy come true at Orthanc. The first one was Sarissa. The burglar one comes true at Orthanc, and that instance, like, I was totally shocked by it because I didn't realize that that's where that happened, and was totally like amazed and thrilled. And yeah, Gale actually had a thing in Isengard, which was really cool, and I took some screenshots for that. So yeah, that was fun. Different. It's nice to go in and have something different happen from what you're used to happening, because I've done this stuff a lot because I typically run the epic story on like all of my characters. And then on the field trip, we decimated Gauntmen, and then we went hunting for trolls. Like, we did 2 or 3 passes through that spot that's got the trolls down by Harlog. It was a lot of fun because there were 5 of us, and so stuff dies really fast, even though they technically were over level for us because the names were yellow. Still getting used to the limited range on the Zappy RK. My Runekeeper that I run on the field trip is yellow line, which is not a line I'm familiar with because my main Runekeeper on Landreval is blue-red. Like blue in a group and red solo, so I'm still getting and I have the same problem actually with the blue line hunter, which is why I don't run blue line hunters, because yes, you can move, but the range is so much shorter than what I'm used to. And I suck at kiting still. So, yeah. But we're working on it. It is a lot of fun to watch everybody else get the trolls all packed up together and then run into the middle of the group and drop a runestone and back away and everything dies.
Well, quick question. So Loremaster and Burglar have their prophecies happen at Orthanc.
Yes.
Hunter is the Scuttledells.
Yes.
What about the others?
Well, it's actually mentioned on the LOTRO wiki, so there's a walkthrough that actually tells you where all of them come true. Those that have come true, there's 2 still that have not happened yet in the game, and Champion is one of them, and I keep expecting it to happen, and yeah, so Terry has not had her prophecy come true yet. It's one of the reasons why I try to do so much stuff with Terry is because yes, she's my main, but also I'm still waiting on that prophecy to come true. Runekeeper, I believe, is the other one that hasn't happened yet.
But given the Midsummer thing, that we're all the way through Mordor and all that kind of stuff, when is it actually supposed to come true?
We don't know.
At this point.
We don't know.
It's like, okay. We've gone through the whole story.
Well, what
Actually,
do you remember the words?
Give me a minute, I'll look it up.
I was going to say, I was checking the wiki. According to this, the Runekeeper one did come true in the Black Book, Chapter 2.1.
Oh, which one is one of the other ones?
Minstrel.
Minstrel, okay.
The Minstrel doesn't have it
hasn't happened yet.
But if you think about that, I mean, some of them, they've had that quest for a while, but some of them didn't happen until all the way up in the Black Book.
Yeah.
So there are still things...
Yeah, so the Champion one, the actual words are, "A shadow beneath the trees, it moves without sound. Might will not avail you. It stalks without mercy, unrelenting. Someone bellows a challenge, and suddenly a beast is by your side. Whether this beast be friend or foe, I cannot see. I hope you will know the difference." I really was thinking that it was going to happen in Mirkwood, like Northern Mirkwood when we went back there. But no, we still have nothing. So there's a couple in Volume 2, there's several in Volume 3, there's some in Volume... the bear one is in Volume 4. Guardian one is in Volume 4. I bet that's cool. And yeah, the Runekeeper is the Black Book.
Well, there are a couple of them, such as the Warden, that are on Pelennor, and they decided not to interrupt the Battle of Pelennor Fields to tell you your prophecy is coming true now.
Yeah, the bear and the Guardian and the Warden are all in Volume 4, Book 6.
Yeah.
Are you sure it wasn't interrupted? You didn't have the words flashing across the screen?
No, I saw a dev report that it was intentionally not interrupting the scene because they didn't want to interrupt that particular scene.
Okay.
Because it was in the middle of the Battle of Pelennor. Because for the Warden, at least, it was the arrival of the black ships.
Yeah.
All right, anything else?
Nope. That was just what I was wondering.
No, I meant for Terry for her
Oh.
week in LOTRO.
Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, so getting used to the Zappy Arcade was the end of my week. Calabathian, how about you?
Well, Celevorn went on vacation in Isengard well with Gale. He dressed appropriately and took many selfies, which I will have to. We experimented at that time with the actual moods in the emotes and discovered that surprise is hilarious, but mischievous on my character's face is not only hilarious, but also borderline horrifying. I will never be able to look at my poor elf hunter the same way again, aka that he's at all attractive. After seeing that, my brain just can't do it anymore. I ran with the academy and discovered that yet another wizard lets us do all the heavy lifting, only this time Radagast was also a kill stealer after he let us do all the heavy lifting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm beginning to think all wizards in Middle-earth are just lazy bums.
They are.
He's not the Grey Wanderer. He's, end off the lazy bum. And I discovered, since we were in the area, that the Graven Wood has evil taters, amongst other edibles. Evil edibles.
Do not eat the ancient evil.
Yeah. Don't go to Gravenwood and eat anything there, because there's like piles of corruption and it's evil, and then you turn around and there's a drop of fine clover honey or a tater or blackberries, and it's like, I don't think I want to eat that. So, that, and there's just so many places where you can pick up these food items, and it's like, the other one was the bone veils. It's like a complete, market there with all these fresh vegetables and fruits and everything, but it's growing on top of dead things, and I'm like, I don't think I want to eat this.
Well, it's
So,
acting
yeah.
as fertilizer.
It's human fertilizer. It's also evil corrupted fertilizer. So, yeah. If you really want to know why Sauron is getting such a big hold on people, it's because we're all eating, ancient evil in some fashion across the board. The bone veils, here's a tater. It's full of evil. The Gravenwood, here's a strawberry. It's juicy with evil. You go into Mordor and it's like, there's nothing here that isn't evil, but we have to eat it. So, and let's cook it in evil and baste it and marinate it in ancient evil. So yeah, I think I see your problem there, y'all. I think I know why we're all susceptible. It's not the rings, okay? It's not the rings. But, Warindus, how about you? How was your week?
I had an interesting week. Gorindus, my main, is now a heroine of the White Company and has a lovely new horse. That was basically completing all the deeds for Minas Morgul, like the landscape deeds. And gee, I wish there was horse deed gear to match.
Right?
Dear SSG, please, if I'm grinding a ridiculous amount of rep and you give me a gorgeous horse, could you give me the worst deed stuff to match?
Right?
It would be so nice. You gave me the horse growing like limbs out of it from the Agar knife, but you didn't give me this one, and I'd really like to have had it. Anyway, moving on, my Hobbit Hunter is currently sleeping off a mighty round of drinks to the memory of Kefli. I did this afternoon just before the stream. She is pretty much done with the redstone loads. It's getting ready to move on, and I'm trying to remember. I'm in the midst of dealing with Bori's really bad idea. I think I'm supposed to do the independent session play next for that. But I have to say I love that quest because it's the best way ever to get those harder to find stable masters, especially if this is only your second character going through Moria. I don't have to try to figure out how to find the Flaming Deeps or the Rotting Cellar. Now I have them open. Yay! But Festivaling has also occurred. Salvia, the Hobbit Hunter I just mentioned, is a lucky duck. That mostly was last year. She had 2 wins she needed to get this year, so she got it fairly early in the festival and hasn't really went back for much. And Gwer can now heave on Mazog's feet if she meets up with him again. She's very happy about this. I had to settle for Hobbit Dance 1 when he died, when I went through on the Epic. I kind of want to get back into that just so I could throw up on his feet this time instead. Yeah. And honestly, last year she seriously started doing it, got the lucky duck, and was most of the way through it when the festival ended. It took me about 5 days of the festival.
Yeah.
For Mudrick to finally have enough of an appetite and not get
Right.
full after 2
Right.
stops. Okay, and one last thing. My theory. You notice he's wearing blue? The Hobbit that you shop for that's either really picky or poor, I'm not sure, I haven't decided which, that he wants next to nothing, he's also wearing blue and has dark hair. I think it's the same Hobbit. I think
Oh
that's
my
Mudrick.
god.
Just a thought. Anyway, Arindis, what did you get up to this week?
I worked on the festival stuff as well. Mostly I've been doing it on my main character so I can distribute cosmetics if need be. Shout out to Fibro Jedi's Guide. I know we've discussed it before, but honestly, people, it's amazing. It has really helped out, trying to get through stuff quicker, especially with so many people on. So I would really recommend checking that out. Earlier this week, I realized I didn't have the Minas Morgul expansion, so I bought one of the fan bundles because, hello, stout axes are amazing. The shepherd dog cosmetic is about eye to eye with my dwarf, and that's amusing to me. I need to pull out my Moomock pet and see if what the height difference is there. Come on, why can't we ride Moomocks? Just saying. I also just caught part of a concert in Bree earlier this afternoon, and that was pretty cool. It's fun to see just concerts popping up across wherever you are. Pineleaf, how was your week?
I'll begin with my Warden on Honor, where I had to deal with some boar-worshipping dwarves. And dwarves, that's orcs. What was
Yeah,
I
I
thinking
was
when
like,
I wrote
what?
that down?
Where are there dwarves in Rohan?
I was like, what in
I
the
know
world?
where the boar worshipping orcs are, but I.
Yeah, boar-worshipping orcs, yes, those. And so I dealt with some boar-worshipping orcs and dealt with them. That just pretty much finishes up the stuff in the East Fold. So now I'm heading into the Broadacres, started out in that area, which is where they give you this thing about the person wearing the red amulet, and of course, when you finally get to the Stone Deeds, they're saying, well, I don't know anything about that, but there is this other thing you can help us with. Oh well, but when I was doing the recording of it, I made sure that I had a few references to, of course, where you meet some of his friends from Bingo Boffin, since I think when they referenced that there were 3 of them at large in Rohan, and of course you track one of them down in the Bingo Boffin storyline, that I brought that into this a little bit so that it would be a little bit less of a loner tale on how it's dealing with that. Then during the field trip, we headed into the swamp, where I guess Terry was learning how effective throwing lightning at people in swamps was.
Yeah.
And during the Friday night fights, we ran the perfect picnic, Thrang. I think a better thing is called How to Wipe Your Party Within a Minute.
The whole.
Yeah, we tried it 3 times before we gave up on it, and all 3 times it was a very, very, very fast wipe.
I haven't actually
First
done
off-
that instance.
Yeah. First off, I was told that those funerals aren't all supposed to pop up all at once as soon as you get into there, but that's what it felt like that they were doing. So we had to deal with that. And then I think not too many of us were too familiar with that instance, which of course didn't help much. And yes, we were just being torn to shreds every time we attempted it. So we decided, all right, let's try something easier. Let's try Damning Lore.
Well, Damning Lore is
that's-
definitely easier. Damning Lore is easy.
You just have to make sure that you don't over attack those fireballs because
Yeah.
they do have that reflect. I think we did have at least one person who forgot about that, and they found their quick way to needing a little res. And that's it for my week in LOTRO. We currently have 14 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to join this illustrious rate of players and help support LOTRO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money would be used for our podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. If you wish to support us without joining Patreon, you can contact Drac at lotrplayers.com. We did not receive any emails this week, but if you'd like to send us one, you can send it to podcast@lotrplayers.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, the Players Alliance at Players Ally, LOTRO Players at LOTRO Players, Arendis at Arendis, Pineleaf at Pineleaf Needles, Sanswinda at Sanswinda, Terryadwin at Terryadwin, Guarendis at Guarendis, and Calabathian at Calabathian. The Players Alliance has 3 shows. On Wednesdays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have DDO Players News. On Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Players News. And if you wish to follow XP Quest, then follow them on Twitter at XP Quest. Just note, though, that XP Quest is not Pineleaf friendly. And that is all for tonight. And this is Pineleaf Noodles reminding you to socialize responsibly.